From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Tonight, millions of people on the march in opposition to President Trump. In San Francisco, one protester told us the reason why.
I'm enraged and I'm terrified at what's happening. I feel like we're on a rocket sled to a dictatorship.
Plus, the South Bay honors Palestinian culture as a fragile ceasefire remains in place in Gaza.
We try to bring a little bit of joy to it. I know it's not a time to be celebrating, and we're not. We're just celebrating our culture and our heritage.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Andrea Nakano.
And I'm Brian Hackney. We'll begin with a day of protests across the country and the Bay Area. For the second time since June, a mass mobilization of millions in opposition to the policies of the Trump administration.
Our Da Lin was there for the San Francisco protests and joins us live now. Da?
Hey, Andrea, Brian, the march and rally just wrapped up minutes ago. We're over at Civic Center Plaza. Still a lot of folks lingering by the main stage. As you can see, people standing there. You know, even though this march is done for today, but earlier there was a lot of energy and emotion. A lot of demonstrators say they're fed up with the Trump policies. A massive show of resistance to the Trump administration. Among the thousands of demonstrators marching down Market Street is the single mom, Anna, and her 4-year-old daughter.
It's hard to believe that we have to march at these times. We are in 2025 marching for human rights.
Anna opposes all of President Trump's policies, but says she's especially angered by the immigration crackdown that's defined the start of his second term.
A lot of families have been ripped apart, and that is one of my biggest fears, to be living in this country as a mother, as an immigrant mother. This country is nothing without immigrants. I want people to be out and fight for immigrants.
No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. No.
Demonstrators held signs reading "Resist" and "No Dictators," condemning a president they see as acting like a king.
I'm enraged and I'm terrified at what's happening. I feel like we're on a rocket sled to a dictatorship.
Very angry and scared. And I don't know what more I can do right now than to be here.
One of the organizers, Indivisible SF, believes a united front can make a difference and send a strong message to lawmakers.
We will not put up with all these abuses of power, with snatching people off the street, which ICE is doing, with cutting our health care.
Organizers say it's hard to pin down an exact number of marchers from the Ferry Building to Civic Center Plaza, but estimate thousands turned out, possibly even more than the first No Kings March back in June. Anna says the more people who show up, the louder their message becomes.
I hope that she one day looks back and says, my mom did something. She fought for me. She fought for my future.
In San Francisco, tens of thousands marched from the Ferry Building to Civic Center Plaza. Santa Rosa, Walnut Creek, and San Jose also saw quite a few people turn out. In Oakland, 10,000 were estimated to have turned out back in June. Today, Kevin Coe said even more were at Lake Merritt and has this story.
Organizers say there was a bigger turnout at this protest compared to the first back in June. And while the name of the protest hasn't changed, some of the issues people are protesting about have, as more people they personally know are affected. Thomas Bin says he's here for his students.
I've had to provide cards to families and students about what to do in case ICE comes to them on their way to or from school or to their houses. Obviously, being a teenager is hard enough, but worrying that your family might be kidnapped makes high school an even harder level and a bigger challenge.
The Oakland educator joined tens of thousands of protesters Saturday in the No Kings protest that started at Wilmachant Park by Oakland's Chinatown.
From Chinatown to Little Saigon and every street in Oakland to every corner of this nation, our message is clear. We stand united against tyranny and dictatorship.
In Oakland, the most common issue at hand for protesters was the threat of the National Guard being deployed. Rally organizers say Saturday's protest was a response to the Trump administration's claims that Oakland needs military assistance.
Donald Trump, Mike Johnson, J.D. Vance, and Steve Miller are lying about Oakland and lying about this movement. They've threatened to send the National Guard and ICE into our cities.
no peace.
The march ended at the Lake Merritt Amphitheater, where several speakers spoke to the crowd, including Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee and Congresswoman Latifah Simon. The rally would end shortly thereafter, but Oaklanders like Thomas Binns believe their message will carry forward.
As somebody who works in education in downtown Oakland, I am out here to say that my students are not illegal on stolen land, that everyone deserves an education, and everyone deserves the right to feel safe in that education.
And meantime, in Gaza, despite a fragile ceasefire, Israel killed at least 9 Palestinians in a vehicle today, including a mother, her husband, and her 3 children. The family was wiped out even as the bodies of 2 more hostages were returned to Israel. Apparently, the driver of that vehicle got lost in the rubble of the war and crossed a line, and that's when soldiers opened fire. That brings the toll of Palestinians killed to more than 68,000. At the same time, only 10 of the 28 deceased hostages have been returned to Israel, with another 2 bodies returned today. Hamas says the delays are because of the chaos in the aftermath of 2 years of bombing. Andrea?
Well, despite the delays, last week's exchange of prisoners and victim remains was seen by many as progress in the conflict between Israelis and Palestinians in Gaza. Today, an annual Palestinian cultural event was held in Redwood City. While it was meant to be non-political, the ongoing struggle is never far from people's hearts and minds. John Ramos has the story.
The fight between Israel and Palestine goes back a lot farther than just 2 years ago. But at the Palestine Cultural Day event, it's clear that every aspect of Palestinian life and art is influenced by the struggle. It's been 46 years since the Palestine Cultural Day gathering began. Samir Tota created it to bring awareness to the struggle of the occupied Palestinians, but he never thought it would still be going on today.
Absolutely not. I thought things going to get better and better, because we have United Nations resolution and all that. But nothing happened. Nothing took place.
The State of Israel officially began in 1948 when it claimed as its homeland the disputed territory known as Palestine. In 1979, Bay Area Palestinians began offering Palestine Day as a display of ethnic culture.
Palestine was under occupation, and we want to present our culture to our American people, and we did. And we are hopeful that it will help a little bit understanding about the Palestinian, their culture, and who they are. That was the whole idea about.
You know, we try to bring a little bit of joy to it. I know it's not a time to be celebrating, and we're not. We're just celebrating our culture and our heritage.
There was traditional food, of course. The chicken shawarma wraps are always a crowd favorite.
This look way better than on YouTube.
And music leaned toward the younger generation. But the artistic heritage of the gathering was on full display in the vendor booths.
It doesn't have too much, work.
Yeah.
And then you have something like this. When you look at the sleeves, look at the detail in this.
Muntahad Hamad was selling traditional Palestinian gowns known as thobes. She was born in the U.S., but the fine embroidery she sells, called tatriz, is in itself a symbol of the Palestinians' defiance to occupation.
In 1948, my mom said we weren't allowed to be educated, so we used our hands a lot.
If you could, would you go back?
Yes, in a heartbeat.
You would go back to live?
In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
But you were born here.
Yeah, but there's something about Palestine, the people, the land, the culture, the traditions. You carry it on with generations to come.
At a nearby booth, Mona Abushi was selling works created by artists in Gaza. She says everything has some kind of meaning behind it.
It tells our stories, so in every piece or everything, it just tells our story.
Does it all go back to the struggle?
Yeah, it does. It does. To be honest, yes, it does. So it's been our heritage since then, and it's still alive, and we still live it with us, and we pass it through generations.
The Palestinian people talk a lot about generations, seeming fearful that, if not remembered, they could disappear completely. And that's why Samir Tota stopped short of calling Palestine Cultural Day a celebration.
We are not celebrating yet. We are not ready to celebrate. The only time we celebrate is when we have a Palestinian state.
There has been plenty of violence in Israel and Gaza to keep hostilities brewing on either side. Whether art and culture can make a difference is yet to be seen.
Organizers say there are an estimated 50,000 Palestinians living in the Bay Area. About 20,000 people were expected to attend today's event. And for more on the weather, here's Derek.
Well, we do have a beautiful day out there. A beautiful rest of your weekend. Enjoy it. We're taking a look out to the storm track. There's rain coming. Now, it's not getting here till the end of the week, but we are on track to see rain come back. We'll talk about that and time out the details and put some amounts on it, but we've also got to talk about this late summer you're experiencing. Forecast coming up. All right, let's get ready for this change in the weather. First of all, enjoy the rest of your weekend. You're going to be near 80 degrees tomorrow for the daytime high. That's just like today. Everything goes along with smooth sailing, really all the way through the first half of the week, and then things get more interesting. Got a chance of rain that shows up there on Saturday. That's rain in that terrarium. If you get a close-up look, you can see the drops coming down on Saturday. Friday's also got a small chance of rain on it. Let's go in order first. Let me show you what it's going to look like out here tomorrow. Pick out your part of the bay. These are the daytime highs for Sunday, and it's going to look and feel just like that. See the window outside our virtual set here? It's staying sunny. It's staying clear. You're staying warmer than average. We'll put the numbers on here down in Monterey as well and get the numbers from Monterey to Watsonville, Salinas, and Santa Cruz. Those are your daytime highs for tomorrow. If you want to see this system, I can show you the likelihood for rain and where this is coming from. We'll go out to the Pacific, and you're going to see a series of storms out here. Most of them want nothing to do with us until we get to Friday and Saturday of next week. So the timestamp we're looking at here is taking us all the way ahead through the rest of the week. Look what happens by the time there's a little bit of rain there Friday, and then more rain right there that comes across going into the weekend. It is still early days on this, so stay on top of the forecast. We will have updates as we get closer to it, but generally the takeaway is exceptionally nice late summer weather for like the next 4 days, including today, tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday. A little bit cloudy, a little bit cooler by the middle of the week, and then rain arrives in time for the weekend.
In Contra Costa County, a new $20 million state grant could soon help build permanent housing for those living with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Suji Nam reports.
That one.
For the past 17 years,
I'm showing you the garbage.
Chris Treat has been taking out his neighbors' garbage bins.
They've been gone since September 22nd. I knew their black and blue can would be empty.
You'll find him diligently taking out the trash once a week.
I like helping people.
Chris is 31 years old. He was diagnosed with autism when he was nearly 3 years old.
And what if Dad and I told you that's called?
All back on memory.
His mother Nancy says he has a rare gift, knowing the days and dates of something even random that happened in his life.
April 16, 2022.
When his brother played baseball.
It's a Saturday.
Chris lives with his parents.
There you go. We do this once a week to help keep his scalp clear.
Nancy and her husband Steve have been desperately searching for a community that supports those with developmental disabilities.
We've looked at private options and they are unaffordable.
With no luck, it's forced them to look for out-of-state options.
He needs to be in an environment where he is safe. That is the most important word to me.
But now there is hope. Sunflower Hill, a nonprofit organization, announced they received nearly $20 million in state funding to build permanent supportive housing for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities in Lafayette. Founder Susan Houghton says the goal is to build 48 units, but still needs more funding before construction begins.
Hope for the future that your loved one can live independently, but also not unlike senior living in a very supportive activities-based location, where if they want to go down and take a cooking class, they can. If they want to do yoga, it's there. If they want to garden, there's that opportunity.
Opportunity for Chris to grow.
Part of the question is why don't we just keep him at home? It works so well here. That'll work as long as it works, but we're not going to live forever, which is why we need to find him a place.
While Chris will need to join the lottery system for Sunflower Hill housing, they are optimistic.
He's going to get to the other end of the tunnel. There's going to be a light.
And Chris, too, is excited.
My family, my friends, my program.
Holding on to the hope for a comfortable and safe future.
Speaking of safe, we want to let you know, earlier in the show on a live shot, Don Lin was confronted, let's say, by somebody at the protests, and it looked a little dicey, but Da is fine, so it all ended okay.
Yeah, we do have a guard out there that looks after the crews, so
do what you can do. Yeah. Otherwise, the protests, by the way, were perfectly peaceful. That's it for us at 5. We'll see you back here at 6. CBS Weekend News is next. For now, good night.